Looking at number 9, it's asking us to find the values of x and y and express your answers in simplest radical form. All right, well, we have x here. We can use SOHCAHTOA because x is, if we look at the 60 degrees, x would be adjacent to the 60, and 24 would be the hypotenuse, and so that would be cosine. Cosine is adjacent x over hypotenuse 24. So we write the equation that cosine of 60 degrees is x over 24. We can multiply by 24 on both sides. So x would be 24 times the cosine of 60. Now, the cosine of 60, that's on the unit circle. So, and on the unit circle, cosine of 60 is 1/2. And 1/2 times 24 gives you 12. So x is equal to 12. Now, y, in relationship to the angle 60, is the opposite side. Y is the opposite side of 60. And then 24 is still the hypotenuse. So that would be sine. Sine of 60 is opposite over hypotenuse, or y over 24. Multiplying by 24 on both sides, so y would be 24 times the sine of 60. And on the unit circle, the sine of 60 is square root of 3 over 2. So that's square root of 3 over 2 times 24. Well, the 24 can be divided by 2, giving you 12. And the square root of 3 would remain. So that would be 12 square root of 3 for y. All right, for number 10, so we have this picture here, and we're trying to find the value of x. Now these are all 45, 45, 90 triangles. Well, one thing that's special about 45, 45, 90 triangles is not only are the angles 45, but the two sides, the two legs are the same. So we'll call this would be A, this would be A, those are your two legs. And then the hypotenuse will always be A, which is the leg, multiplied by the square root of 2. So the hypotenuse again is A times the square root of 2. All right, so we were given that this was 3, and so that means the other leg would be 3, which means the hypotenuse would be 3 times the square root of 2, based on what we just said over here. So if that's square root of 3 over, if that's 3 square root of 2, then this side would also be 3 square root of 2 because this is also, these are also 45, 45 triangles here. So that's 45 degrees and that's 45 degrees. So that means this side is the same as that side. And now, since this triangle is also 45, 45, 90, then that means that this hypotenuse, this red side here, that red side would be the leg multiplied by square root of 2. So the leg is 3 square root of 2, and then you're multiplying that by square root of 2 again. That's based on this pattern. So we have 3 square root of 2 times the square root of 2, which is 3 square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. So that red length is 6. Now, x I just realized I have to do something different to find x. So once we have the red side of 6, that's all this red, whole red line is 6. Then half of it, which would be from here to here, this part would be 3 then. So if we take this triangle, let's cut this triangle out and let's move it over here. So we have this side hypotenuse is 3, and then this is the x we're looking for, which follows this pattern here. So to work backwards, if the hypotenuse is A times the square root of 2, then the legs would be the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. So x would be 3 divided by the square root of 2. And then multiply by square root of 2 on the top and bottom. And we get 3 square root of 2 divided by 2. And that is x. All right, Here's number 11. It says write the trig ratio for cosine x as a fraction and as a decimal rounded to the nearest hundredth. Now when we look at x is this angle here, and it says cosine. We want to find the cosine of x. Well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Well, that would be 12 over 15. So we say cosine of x is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 12 over 15, and that reduces to 4/5. So that's going to be our fraction answer, and then 4 divided by 5 is equal to 0.8 for our decimal answer. Number 12, it says use your calculator to find the trigonometric ratios sine 79, cosine 47, and tangent 77, and then round to the nearest hundred. So this is straightforward. You just get your calculator and put in sine 79, and you get 0.98. Then you type in cosine 47, and you get 0.68, and then tangent 77, and you get 4.33. Number 13, it says find GH. GH is the hypotenuse of this triangle, so I'm going to call it X. Now, X is the hypotenuse. The angle here is 35, and this side, 18.4, is actually the adjacent side to the angle 35. So we have adjacent, and we have X, which is the hypotenuse, and that's going to be cosine. So we say cosine of 35 equals adjacent over hypotenuse, which is the 18.4 over x. And then we'll multiply by x, and at the same time divide by cosine 35. So we get x is equal to 18.4 divided by the cosine of 35, which gives us 22.46 as our answer.